Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, Innate Wisdom. In this video, I'm going to offer all of you a group body talk session completely free of charge. You probably know my channel from my tarot card readings, but because I see so much disharmony being communicated through the cards, I thought I'd start offering sessions to anyone who wants to create and experience more balance and harmony in any life area, including love, relationships, health, career, and so on. If you're familiar with BodyTalk sessions, you may wish to skip this short introduction and jump straight to the beginning of the session. I have included the timestamp in the description below. And if this is the first time that you hear about BodyTalk, I encourage you to stay with me for these next few minutes. So, my name is Agnes, and I have been a certified BodyTalk practitioner for the past 14 years. I also hold a bachelor's degree in registered nursing, and I have worked quite a number of years in the operating room when I lived in the United States. But 12 years ago, I left nursing and I started to work full-time with the BodyTalk system. BodyTalk is a gentle, non-invasive, consciousness-based healthcare system that is based on the premise that the body has an inborn, or as we call it, innate wisdom and ability to heal itself. Just think of an instance when you cut your finger and the body automatically began the healing process without any actions needed on your part. This self-regulating, self-balancing activity of the body constantly strives to restore harmony through reestablishing lines of communication, balance and synchronicity so that the body can function as nature intended. And of course, it's not just the physical body that's taken into consideration in a body talk session, but also the mind, the emotions, beliefs, past experiences, many other components that make up a human. This is what we call the body-mind complex, or body-mind in short. So many times, unprocessed stresses of daily life can get stored in the body-mind and can block our innate healing capabilities, creating disharmony such as relationship problems, emotional or physical symptoms, pain, blocks in one's career, or even experiencing the same patterns over and over in any life area. Now, why is it so very beneficial to participate in individual or group body talk sessions? Regularly participating in sessions can help reduce the stress load experienced by the body-mind and thus improve the functioning of innate, creating more harmony and well-being in all life areas. And if you consider that you regularly clean the home you live in, why not consider your body your home as well? After all, you live inside it. And just think of the many organs, body parts, and billions of cells that support you day to day. They deserve your love and support as well, and in my opinion, participating in body talk sessions is one way to say thanks to them and also to care for your body-mind. Now let me tell you about what can be expected in a group body talk session. First of all, I'm going to be working with the innate wisdom of this group consciousness that is made up of the people who are drawn to watch this video. Participation is of course optional, and I'd like to emphasize that participating in body talk sessions cannot do harm. The balancing actually takes effect through your own innate ability to heal. I am merely an assistant here, and the body-mind cannot be forced to make any changes if it is not ready to do so. By offering this session to yourself, you have nothing to lose and can only experience benefits. Because if your body-mind isn't ready to accept the session, nothing will happen. It will just ignore it. However, if you were drawn to this video, you're likely to benefit from the session on some level. Some people experience immediate improvements, while for others it may take a few days or even weeks to notice changes. And in some other cases, changes can be very subtle, taking place on the subconscious level. In these cases, you may not be aware of changes, but your body-mind may have improved its functioning or may have even prevented something that was developing that you didn't even know about. So never underestimate the potential of a session. When conducting body talk sessions, as a practitioner, I use a so-called muscle checking technique, which is a form of biofeedback to establish communication with innate, and I also use the question protocol of the body talk system in order to quickly navigate between the different areas and to find the so-called priorities. Priorities are pinpointed by Innate as those most important roadblocks within the body-mind that are ready to shift and balance at the time of the session. Now, about these priorities, try not to get caught up in whether a particular priority resonates for you or not, as this can block your ability to accept the session. And remember, some priorities can be subconscious and you may not be aware of them. So just try to be as open as possible, knowing you have nothing to lose. So let's get started with the session. I'm going to ask Innate to give us a session on the topic of, let's say, well-being. So whatever life area needs improvement the most, in your case, that's where your Innate will swing into action. If it's your love life, balancing is going to likely help you in that area. If it's your health, then that's where you're likely to experience most improvements. So let's get started. All right, everyone, so let's get started with this group body talk session and let's see what the first priority is. And I'm going to be using my own muscle to get yes and no answers from the body mind, from the innate wisdom of this group consciousness. So let's see what is the first most important thing that's ready to be balanced. Where is the most important imbalance, so to say? Okay, our first priority is the brain. And actually, Innate wants to specifically focus on a detail about the brain because, according to Innate, it's storing worry about changes. So there are, of course, many changes going on in the world around us. People are experiencing many changes in their own lives. Circumstances are changing. So that can definitely present stresses. And right now, there's worry being stored in the brain. And when there's a disharmony within the brain, which is a part of the central nervous system, which is directly connected to everything else in the body, every single particle knows that the brain, the boss, is stressed. So it's kind of like in a company, when the boss is stressed, all of the employees kind of feel that atmosphere. It's a little bit more difficult to work in that atmosphere. Everybody's a little bit more tense because the boss is stressed. So this is kind of like the atmosphere here, and the brain is, there is a worry in it about changes. So this is our first priority. And in body talk sessions, we're linking one priority to the next priority and to the next priority, as long as Innate points out a certain sequence until it's done with the formula, until it's done with building the formula. So this says, we call it in body talk, we build formulas. And actually the formulas show us the lines of communications, those channels which are blocked in the body-mind system. And if these channels of communications are blocked, the innate healing ability of the body is not functioning as well as it could be functioning. So that's why it's important to re-establish these lines of communications as much as possible to de-stress the body. All right, so brain is our first priority. Let's see where we're linking from here. And actually our next priority where we're linking, so we're reestablishing communication between the brain and the pelvis. The pelvis is our next priority. And in many instances, the pelvis can be symbolizing our stability, our foundations, how comfortable we feel in ourselves, in our bodies, or in our lives, in our homes, or in any situation. Our comfort level could be addressed here. And actually, what's coming up specifically about the pelvis is the phrase comfort zone. There could be different beliefs about comfort zones, you know, like, do I need to stay within my comfort zone to accomplish something? What happens if a change happens? Is it going to move me outside of my comfort zone? But really, moving outside of our comfort zones is what gets us to evolve as people and to evolve our consciousness. So here, what's priority about the pelvis is to balance ideas around comfort zone and to not be in disharmony if we need to leave that comfort zone occasionally. But here the priority is to balance ourselves to the idea of not always feeling comfortable or within the known environment. And we might feel sometimes discomfort if we need to move outside of that. And surrounding this entire formula, is actually almost like a clinginess, attachment to known circumstances. So it's almost like a different phrase for comfort zone, but in body talk, specific wording is priority as well. So I need to follow what the body mind is telling me to do. And right now, this priority around this formula is attachment to known circumstances. So it's almost like, yes, I just want what I know. I don't want to go somewhere where I don't know what's going on. I'm not familiar with the environment, and that can really get some people imbalanced or, uncomfortable. So this is our formula. There are no further priorities. And Innate is telling me that we're ready to balance this formula. In other words, we're ready to tap it out, as we call it in BodyTalk. So we're going to be using our hands and creating these waves, doing this very, very light tapping over the 3 brain areas. So we're going to be tapping over the head. And make sure that one finger, at least one finger, is on either side of the central line of the brain. So we tap over the head, we tap over the heart, and then we tap over the navel. And each of these areas have their own functions. For example, tapping over the brain, over the head, this actually gets the changes started. This activates the formula. And tapping over the heart, it's kind of like clicking the save button. So this saves the changes. And tapping over the navel also helps save the changes, but it also helps to integrate the changes and to assimilate them into the body mind. So now we are ready to start the tapping process. We're ready to activate this formula, and we're going to be doing this by the tapping process. So if you're ready to receive this session, then I invite you to tap with me on yourself. And when I tap on myself, I'm actually tapping for the group consciousness, and from this you can download it for yourself by tapping on yourself and also taking a few deep breaths in the meantime. So let's do this if you're ready. All right, and I'm muscle checking to see if this formula is still a priority, but it's not, which means that we have tapped for a long enough time and the changes have started. So let's see if there's anything else that's ready to be balanced. And actually there is. Let's see. Our first priority in the next formula is the breathing cycle. And when we take in a breath and then we release it, actually the whole body breathes. Everything moves. And when we breathe in, we take in new life, we take in oxygen. It is vital that we do this. And then when the gas exchange has occurred, we release the breath, which also means we release what's no longer needed and we're ready to take in the new. So basically the breathing cycle is the most basic cycle that is happening in our bodies. But everywhere you look, there are cycles. All right, so Innate is indicating that there's some kind of a disharmony with this breathing cycle. There's a little bit of stress in it. So let's see. This is linking to a so-called active memory, which can be a belief system. It could be memory that still has an emotional charge attached to it, which means that it's not neutral to the body mind. And this next priority here is a belief system that says, I let go. And right now, when I say this sentence or this statement, the body mind does not agree with it. I want to hold back. I'm not letting go. So when I say I let go, there's a certain amount of stress that comes out of this collective consciousness. And that's why it's coming up as a priority to be balanced. So it's that resistance to letting go that wants to dissolve, that wants to get neutralized. And then we still have another priority here. And actually we're linking to the muscles. Now the muscles give us strength and they support us and they help us do what we need to do. But what's coming up right now about muscles is rigidity. And the body mind sometimes uses the muscles for storage. Like if it cannot dissolve certain events or emotions and it needs to store them, muscles are a primary place for storage, so to say, in the body mind. So That can be why sometimes muscle can get rigid, because they're storing stress essentially. Then there's another priority, kind of like surrounding this whole formula like a layer of an onion. And this is another active memory, and it's actually the fear of the unknown. And that's also creating imbalances within the body-mind, that's why it's coming up as a priority. It's ready to be released though, so that's the good news. Okay, there are no further priorities in this formula, and if you're ready to receive this balancing, then let's tap together and take in deep breaths in the meantime. All right, this is no longer a priority either. And Innate is telling me that this is the end of the session for today for this group. All right, and let me know if you have any feedback or any questions. You can let me know in the comments section below, or you can also message me privately through my email address. I will leave it in the description box below. And I want to thank you for being here with me, participating in this session. And with that being said, I'm wishing you a lovely day. Take care.